I think people are afraid of baking, again, because of the measurements and the science. And people are like, oh, no, I'm a cook. I like to throw things together. But baking is just learning the rules so you can break them. It's just you kind of have to understand the science, and then you can throw it out the window and kind of mess around with it, which is why I really love baking too.
Chef Belle English is in charge of the Williams-Sonoma Test Kitchen, where she oversees all recipe development, product testing, cookbook creation, as well as culinary content and video production. Born and raised in Boston, Belle fell in love with cooking and baking at an early age in her family's restaurants and opened a bakery of her own at 17. Belle has spent her entire career working in professional kitchens, editorial test kitchens, and even her own kitchen running a catering company. Currently a resident of San Francisco, she is also an author, culinary illustrator, writer, food stylist, and social media strategist.
I always say you can't teach work ethic if you're eager to learn and really want to work hard. A lot of skill can be taught. So that's my number one when I'm looking for someone to hire, whether it's like for a single event or a weekend event or a short-term project or a test cook. If you don't have all the technical skills, you can learn them as long as you want to. You know, I always joke that I didn't have a choice, but it's not like from parental pressure at all. It's just, it's in me. I literally grew up on a, banquette and watching my parents run restaurants, and it's how I learned to love and be loved and share and like enjoy the wonderful things in life. So I didn't really have a choice. It was always meant to be. And I had to find my own avenue, which didn't really end up being restaurants, which we will get into. But food is like my heart and soul. So I had to define what that meant for me, and here we are,
So
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Carol.
I identify with that a lot. I feel that way in my family as well. It just makes a lot of sense that I would work in food because of how I was raised.
That's what I do,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and did you grow up in restaurants?
No, my grew up in an Italian American family, and my grandmother was a fantastic cook, and my mother is a fantastic cook, and we just cooked all the time. I mean, my grandmother or my mother and my sister and I were in the kitchen all the time, and it's how we showed each other love and comfort, and it's how we took care of people. It still is.
Yeah.
Last week we went on a trip with my family, and my parents were already in Colorado, and we were joining them in Colorado that day, and we had traveled all day. We arrived after a long day of travel. My parents had already gone food shopping. My mom was cooking dinner for us because she said, I don't want you to have to worry about going out. And, and she had cooked a beautiful meal for us. And I jumped in the kitchen and helped her. And it was, of course, this is how I'm greeted after a long day of travel. It just sort of is.
I love that.
Love. Yeah, I get it.
Percent.
Yeah.
So, Belle, tell us about the journey from home to where you are now. There's been a lot of iterations of like interests in culinary and things that you've done, and give us like the snapshot.
I've lived many, many lives, even though I'm still young, but I've lived many lives. You grow up quickly in the restaurant industry, as I'm sure you both know. But watching my parents in restaurants, again, I always knew food would be where I landed. I just didn't really know how or what. I was always cooking, like middle school, high school, anytime there was, or in college, like a school project, I would always bring in an accompanying bite, whatever it was, even if it like barely made any sense, like in middle school, my how to build a cell, like I made a cake. So that looked like a cell. So it was just always my expression was through food. I guess the real point where my career started was when I was 17. I opened Isabel's Curly Cakes on Charles Street, when cupcakes were when cupcakes were the froyo of froyo. Obviously with the help of my dad and his restaurant group. I didn't just do it by myself. But that's where I really learned, the building blocks and what it takes to build a business. I learned and struggled. I learned the hard way, I guess, how hard it is. I saw my parents do it. So, and my respect for them is through the roof and anyone in this industry. But once I was in there, I was like, oh gosh, this is really freaking hard. And there are a lot of moving pieces. And I had the support and the foundation. So, I mean, props to anyone who has the bravery to open a restaurant or, whatever it may be. Then I went to college, kind of ran my cupcake business from afar. Obviously without the love and attention that a restaurant or bakery deserves. It didn't end up staying open much longer. But I knew that I needed to create something. So I went to NYU I got to make my own major actually. It's like the hippiest, most NYU thing that everyone else at NYU makes fun of Gallatin, which is the school where you get to build your own major because they're like, what does that even mean? But my college major ended up being called Understanding Beauty Through Art and Food. So I studied food studies, visual art, writing, food writing, and just really fell in love with like the combination of food and art and the visuals. And that's kind of how I got into food styling and was always taking pictures and stuff. Again, always making food and bringing it to my classes. And I realized kind of the slower approach to food. So not really being in a restaurant kitchen because I had done that my whole childhood too. My dad made and my mom made all of us work every position in the restaurant. So I've been everything from like, bus girl to back of house. So I knew kind of slowing down and really getting methodical about cooking is where I kind of found myself shining. I got an internship at America's Test Kitchen right after college.
No shit.
Yeah, I was an intern. It was the school of I like got the kind of kicked into me because it was all about like slowing down and like really methodical and understanding how recipes worked and like actually measuring shit, which I wasn't really good at before. And I learned so much of that. It was like it perfectly used my right brain and my left brain. I could be like scientific and thoughtful, but also be creative and intuitive and all these things. So that's where I really fell in love with recipe development.
And when were you at ATK?
I graduated college in 2015. So I was there the summer of 2015.
Oh my gosh, I think we just missed each other. Yeah, I think I started, in October of 2015 or October 2016. It was very...
Wait, you started?
I was there. Yeah, I was there for 9 years. And I just left in May. So...
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Yes, we would have just missed each other.
At the Brookline, yeah?
Yeah, so we started in Brookline, and then about 6 years ago, we moved to the Seaport in Boston.
New kitchen and setup is...
Yeah, the kitchen is crazy. So I worked in Brookline for, I think, 3 years, and then in the Seaport for 6 years, something like that.
We must have just missed each other because I was still there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think. Now I can't. I was still there that whole year, like interning and then doing like food styling and stuff too. Because I moved here in June 2016, but I was like freelancing and food styling at ATK that whole time.
That is crazy.
See that?
I'm sure we know a ton of the same people. Now I'm wondering when I actually started.
Worried or wondering? I just
no. That's okay. Well, so one of the things that I wanted to ask about was, so I worked at ATK for a long time in product reviews, and
cool.
There are very few places in the country, which I'm sure you know more than most, that offer sort of this place for people who love food and want to work in food, but don't want to work in a kitchen, right? Who might want nights and holidays and weekends off, but who still get to be surrounded by food and by people who love food. I'm, off the top of my head, I'm thinking Williams-Sonoma, Bonap, New York Times Cooking, ATK, a handful of other places. And I'm sure you know this. When a job opens up at one of these places, there are hundreds and hundreds of applicants because it's such a small fraction of the food industry.
It really is.
So how did you find your way?
Really.
So you were at ATK
Yeah,
and then
I was at ATK and I totally agree. And ATK is where I became a total food nerd because I was surrounded by food nerds. And I say that in the nicest way. Now I am one, but people were just obsessed with product, obsessed with like how things worked. Being on like the Cooks Illustrated side in the kitchen, I'd only seen like restaurant cooks who like, you're throwing it together in a different way to like really slow down and like understand how food works. I was like, wait, I need to know how everything works now. So it really ignited that part of me. Um, and same with product. So, I was on the product team, interned on the product team as well, because in the internship, you go a little bit in every different department. ATK does. And I like tried out every like meat thermometer on the market. And I like became obsessed with meat thermometers for like 2 weeks. I was working on it, or like how to make
Thermapen, baby. Thermapen.
Thermapen's the way to go.
There's no question. I had to try out all of them. I also did a project of like how to hard boil an egg so that it peels the best. So I like hard boiled like a trillion eggs and figured out the perfect method that I still use to this day. So projects like that is what really like did the unlock for me of really wanting to understand how food works and how products work. And
By the way, we are not sponsored by Thermapen, but I'm just going to put it out there that
shout out.
If they want to, we're here. We'll take the call. We'll take the call.
Open to the opportunity. So I had known the old culinary director at Williams-Sonoma at the time. She'd actually helped my dad write his latest cookbook. So she said, you're new in your career in a test kitchen. Why don't you come out and check out our test kitchen? So I came out for just like to hang out as like an experience. It was really lovely of her to kind of, just mentor me in this new space. So I just came out to check it out. The day I came out, the test cook put in her notice.
Wow.
And I was in the kitchen and she had left the kitchen to go put in her notice. And I was in the kitchen alone cooking, developing a recipe because she was like, do a mock recipe. And it was just so serendipitous. I got offered the job that day.
That's wild.
I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm moving to San Francisco. I got to be here in 6 weeks. She's like, what the fuck? I'm like, I got to go. So it was so serendipitous. I have a Snapchat of me, a selfie back when Snapchat, this is 2015 or whatever, as of me in the kitchen and wrote dream job. And I've been here ever since. So I've been in the test kitchen for 9 years. I haven't really left.
That's so crazy.
Williams-Sonoma, although my role has grown drastically. But so, yeah, very serendipitous. And you never know where life's going to take you. So
you never know. Know. And one of the places that your life has taken you is into authorship.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear a little bit about your cookbooks, particularly, baking favorites and at-home favorites, and understand how you've used them and written them in a way that really showcases like a wide variety of recipes. What was the inspiration behind those particular collections, and what's the most challenging part of writing a cookbook for you?
Yeah, good question. So when I started Williams-Sonoma in the test kitchen, we only wrote like small format cookbooks. So like that would support an appliance, right? So the air fryer cookbook or indoor grilling cookbook. And I really wanted to explore writing a cookbook with like more range and a little more art and interest, like the cookbooks that I buy and are line my shelves in my house. I wanted to write one of those. And so baking is a huge part of my life. Obviously, I started as a baker, Isabel's Pearly Cakes. And so I wanted to kind of explore baking as a subject. Of course, it's like one of everyone's favorite activities. So there was a lot of interest in it. The scope of Williams-Sonoma is, it's not just my department and what I want. There's a much bigger storytelling, a much bigger umbrella. So it kind of fit within the realm of when the cookbook was going to come out. We had supporting product and themes that went along with it. And we had so many amazing like archival baking recipes that actually existed before my time. But Chuck Williams, our founder, had saved and written up in his book. So it's kind of a combination. So that was baking favorites. And then I actually wrote that in the pandemic at my house in my studio apartment. So
and baking is one of those things that like you might not think you're into it, and then you find the right baking cookbook and you're like, oh my, like I remember when Baking with Julia came out and I kind of had like, interest in it, but not really. But then that cookbook dropped and I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
I think people are like, oh no, are afraid of baking again because of the measurements and the science. And people are like, oh no, I'm a cook. I like to throw things together. Um, but baking is just learning the rules so you can break them. It's just you kind of have to understand the science and then you can throw it out the window and kind of mess around with it. Which is why I really love baking too. But yeah, I think you have to find the right recipe or the right book that kind of gets you into that mode. I think people obviously like fell in love with baking bread over the pandemic, and that trend has continued massively. Because once you like bake something, especially bread, you're like, oh my God, I can never have bread anywhere else than my own like fresh baked oven again. Once you like really master it. So whether it's chocolate chip cookies, bread, whatever it is, it's a project and
All
it
right,
can
I'm
be
going to get off topic, but
okay.
what is the ideal chocolate chip cookie for you? Is it thin, crispy, or is it thick and chewy?
So this is some of my life's work. I've been through developing my chocolate chip cookies since I could bake. I like a crispy around the edge, chewy, gooey
Yeah.
center.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
I like chopped chocolate, so you have like pools,
Yes.
the whole thing. Salt,
Mhm.
salt.
Love it.
Salt on top.
There you go, dude.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a
Least
must.
favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
baking.
awesome.
Yeah,
So that was the baking cookbook, and
that was
then
baking cookbook. And then at
tell us
home
about tell
favorite
us about the at home.
was actually inspired. I hate keep talking about the pandemic, but it kind of was a big part of these books. But it was inspired by the pandemic because we had so much. Obviously, people were eating at home and cooking at home, and a lot of people learned to cook or really like dove into cooking things that challenged them. And we saw so much wonderful feedback and interest in wanting to like go deeper into cooking at home. And so the collection of recipes is recipes that me and my test cooks, we like actually make. And, I think there's a lot of recipes floating around there that it doesn't really seem realistic, but these are things that we made and continue to make. And a lot of them are from growing up or currently, or inspired by, a few of our different cultures. So it was really like a compilation of the test kitchen, and what we represent. It's cozy, it's home cooking. A lot of the, ideologies that again, Chuck Williams has like, inspired. So it was really fun to write, because there was a lot of nostalgia involved, and nostalgia is like my favorite part of food and food memories. And
Hard though, deadlines,
yeah,
all the things, right?
is also as fun and dreamy as that all sounds. Deadlines, editors, page caps and all this stuff. I wrote like 5-page intro that I was so proud of. And they were like, yeah, cut it down to one. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, but I love every sentence, and I know no one's gonna read it, but I love it anyways.
I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again quickly. When I wrote Homegrown, I had just opened Townsend, like literally worst timing ever.
Yeah.
And
There's never a good time also, right?
There's never a good time, but it's a lot of work. And like, I think I took it for granted a little bit. And I was all over the place trying to just run a business and write the cookbook and do all the things. And I'd gone down to New York to be on the Today Show, or CBS Morning something. And I was on my way back on the train and I got an email from Judy Prey, editor at Artisan, who published my book. And she was like, if this thing isn't done in like the next couple weeks, like just isn't going to happen. And I remember that moment because like people look at cookbooks and they're like, oh, I want to write a cookbook one day, but they don't really understand the amount of energy that has to go into it.
It's so much work, and like it's like putting like a cap on creativity, which is really hard because it's like you want to do all these things, and right when I like put in the cookbook, now it takes like a year for it to come out. I'm like, I would change everything because now I've evolved even more. And like,
yeah, it's a snapshot in time, right?
It's a snapshot in time for sure, which is why they're so wonderful. And why I hope cookbooks stay around forever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really hard. I think there's a lot of moving pieces and photography and like choosing which recipes go in. It's such a labor of love. it's a labor of love and like all this passion and creativity, but again, with deadlines and editors and people kind of trying to keep you on your straight and narrow. And I'm like, wait, but what about one more? They're like, nope, it's at the print. I'm like, damn it.
Yep.
But then you like get it in the mail, like the first copy, and you're like, holy shit, I did this. And you have this like permanent piece of your creativity. And I think I always joke because my brothers are documentary filmmakers, and I always joke that their art is like always out in the universe, right? It's so tangible. And like my art is like I could work all day on this meal and then you eat it and it's gone. So and I'm like, oh, okay, there goes that. But the book is like the tangible piece of work.
Yeah.
So it feels really good when I like see it on the shelf. It's just such an accomplishment. So I'm very lucky to have been given that opportunity and to be a part of it.
Do you think there are any more cookbooks on the horizon?
Oh yes, always. Again, there's no good time to write one because there's so many things floating in the universe, but I would love to write many, many more. I have a list. I have a list of cookbook titles and I have a list of restaurant names in my notes app and I just add to them.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Forever. So one day something's got to come out of it, right?
I love that.
Yeah. So one of the topics that we like to explore on this podcast is about people. And so that encompasses recruiting, hiring, onboarding, mentoring, all that kind of stuff. When you're building a team at the test kitchen, what qualities do you look for now that you're the one doing the hiring?
No, it's crazy. How did this happen? Who put me in charge? I have a small but mighty team. So my kitchen's only 3 people, including myself. So we have a lot of, space to cover. I think in a test kitchen role, you have to be a very dynamic human and a very dynamic cook. So, Matt, as you said, like there's such a wide range of recipes. So understanding baking knowledge and cooking knowledge, being interested in like being on camera or like the media content side of it is a big part. Understanding like how people, obviously we are targeted towards the home cook. So how people cook at home, how people want to cook at home, the balance between like, aspiration, but attainability. So it's really like understanding our customer, and consumer really well. And then having, a wide range of skills because there's like, it's baking, it's cooking, it's cocktails. There's like, it's not just one specialty. Although we all have our niche which is, it's also really important to me that there's like a wide range of like cultural experience. So it's not just like me and my Irish Italian roots leading the way because what a limited like mindset that is. So, actually how it worked out is, we have some different cultural influences and how my cooks grew up, or it's so different than the way I grew up. Although we're all like restaurant foodie kids, different cultural backgrounds. So that's been able to influence a lot of what we're doing, and just like bring all these different cultures to light. So it's not just me and my pastas and cookies all the time.
And there has to be a bunch of strategy that goes into implementing the type of environment for you and at Williams-Sonoma that's like super productive. It's obviously creative, but it has to be super productive and innovative. And how do you do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. We all kind of keep each other in check because there's so much going on, and I know we're one of the few departments in the company that has our toe dipped in every other department, right? Because we work with cookware, we work with bakeware, we work with the content team, we do marketing. So, our job is kind of, bleeds out into everyone else's world. So that we're constantly juggling like a million things. We also work a year out mostly. So like I'm already planning next Thanksgiving. Actually, next Thanksgiving's planned. I'm on like Christmas.
Wow.
So
okay, can we bring sticky pudding back?
Sticky pudding. Do you know what? Yes. First of all, Jean would love that.
Yeah.
Sticky pudding. Sure, why not?
Like, like a nice, really nice date
Like a
pudding.
toffee?
Yeah,
Like a
like
sticky
date
toffee pudding?
for Christmas. I just love it. I grew up with it with my grandmother, and like, I don't know, I've never really seen it anywhere else.
Eastern Standard used to have the best sticky toffee pudding. Like the old Eastern Standard. I haven't tried since they reopened. I don't know if it's back on the menu, but it used to be one of my favorite places.
Honey, I'm noticing all these like old school, almost like retro foods. They're all having a,
Yeah.
like
Everything's
I've been
cyclical, right?
I know it's like the circle of life, but I've been like playing around with all this chicken pot pie stuff, all this content. And
I saw your pot pie. You made a pot pie the other day.
I've been making pot pies.
That was banger. That was banger. I had just made a pot pie and posted it, and I thought it looked pretty damn good. And then I saw yours. I was like, God damn it. I'm going to go pull my post down now.
No.
Did Kate make the pastry?
No, I made it, which
Matt's
is
wife
part
is
of the
a
problem.
baker.
Like,
yeah,
I just did a quick
regular pastry or like a shortbread dough, or like
it was literally one of those things. You know that you have those days where you're just like, I've got this and that. I'm gonna make this, and that's how it was. I had leftover rotisserie chicken. I was like, I'm just gonna make a pot pie. So I made a pot pie, and I made like classic like cold water dough with AP flour, and it was fun. It was great, right? But like, and I was like proud because I took some time and I like crimped that dough nice, and it was like looking good, and I was like all proud of myself. And then I saw Belle's, and I was like, that is a crust. Like I should have taken more time. Like what the fuck am I doing? Like.
that's
Well, what kind of crust did you use?
I use puff pastry, store bought though, so Matt wins those.
But mad butter on that thing.
I mean,
just like you must have smothered the top. It was just golden and crispy. And anyways,
retro, all these like retro, like old school, like your grandmother's foods, they're coming back.
Yeah,
but I digress. I forgot what we were talking about.
We do too. We were talking about. Yeah, it's okay. People. We can talk about people. I
think from like a team building standpoint, it's actually advice my dad gave me a long time ago, which was like never be the best cook in the kitchen. And it's like never be the smartest person in the room. So to always surround yourself with people who know more, know different, and like can teach you things. So my team very much represents that. We're constantly learning from each other and like bouncing ideas off each other. And coming up with different ways to create, which has been super helpful. And then, I have a greater team outside the test kitchen that keeps me on track and deadlines and this and that and other things. So it really takes a village. It's interesting, like from my food development side. So I develop all the recipes, like all the cake mixes and braising sauces and stuff that end up on the shelves at Williams-Sonoma. So all the like shelf staples.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, my team does all of that recipe and development. And
geez, there are only 3 of you?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. So
time to grow the department a little bit.
Yeah, right? I know, right? Please, I need to count. Jesus Christ.
Is there a lot of like emerging culinary talent at Williams-Sonoma, like people who you can identify from a distance and be like, that person is going to be awesome. Here's how I'm going to work with them, like to foster their skill set.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, Carolyn, what you were saying earlier, like being at ATK, there's a lot of people who might not have like the culinary skill set to be a cook or to like be in the kitchen, but they have this like immense interest and knowledge in food, which is what brings them to Sonoma in the first place. So while maybe not from like a culinary standpoint, from a knowledge or media or content standpoint or marketing, there's so many people who just like continue to push us to think bigger and do more and really like innovate in the space. But yeah, there's so many people that go into making one product. Like, yes, it's me and my team doing the literal cooking, but there's a whole food development team. There's packaging departments. There's, the inventory side. So like, it's a giant web of people to get, a single, spice mix on the shelves. So, yeah, it's great.
I felt that way at ATK too, that our team sort of touched every department. And I loved that. I loved getting to work with food stylists, with photographers, with art directors. And I came in with some cooking knowledge. I was a baker in Boston for a while at Flour, and I had studied pastry in culinary school. So I had some cooking and baking knowledge, but I wasn't a writer. And so I was hired as an intern, and then my team brought me up and taught me how to write for 9 years and developed my writing skills. And then I think there are other people that later joined our team that had other skills that then we sort of filled in some of their culinary skills. So I think they're sort of, if you find someone who's a good fit and who really wants it and really cares, I think this happens in kitchens a lot too, that the ability to, I was told really early on that if I was on time and I worked hard and I was willing and I was pleasant enough to be around for a few hours because you're in kitchens for so long, that basically everything else could be taught.
Yeah, exactly. I always say you can't teach work ethic, cannot teach work ethic. Can I even say work ethic? Teach it, but you can, you can be, if you're eager to learn and really want to work hard, a lot of skill can be taught. So that's my number one when I'm looking for someone to hire, whether it's like, for a single event or a weekend event or a short-term project or a test cook. It's like, if you don't have all the technical skills, you can learn them as long as you want to.
We used to have this saying at my restaurants, which was hire for the fire in someone's eyes. And like, you can train the rest, but like you can tell if people have that thing, like, and once they do, if you can find those folks, then it just becomes about teaching them skills, right? Which is easier when you have somebody who's engaged.
I think, for sure. And I think the other, especially in the food industry, like, you work so hard, like just like a service one night is like an extreme amount of work, and there's so many hands that touch it. So also it'll be like such a team, to want to be part of a team and to be a good team player, and to be able to like pick up someone's slack and vice versa, and just really like ebb and flow. I think like chemistry in a kitchen is really important. I've had people in kitchens who, on paper everything looks great, but we just like don't have chemistry and it doesn't work because you become a family. Even in like a corporate kitchen environment like I'm in now, like we are such a family. We spend I spend more time with them than anyone in my life. So to have chemistry and like understanding and to be able to like have them pick me up when I need it and to me pick them up when they need it, has been a big piece of it. So definitely look for that too. And I can usually tell right away. Right when like I'm interviewing and the camera turns on, we vibe.
You've got a good bullshit meter on you. You're like, nope.
Like we need to vibe. Otherwise, it's also like we want to have fun. And at the end of the day, like we're making product and we're making food and it can be really stressful. But I want to have fun and create like a fun, lovely work environment, and have people want to come to work. So that's a big piece of kind of creating that environment too.
Another key thing that we focus on in these interviews with folks like you is promotion. So like content strategy, editorial planning, productivity. How do you develop and refine Williams-Sonoma's culinary content strategy? Like I think, and by that I mean also your part in the larger brand storytelling and identity, right? Because I'm familiar with Chuck and the legacy and all the things, and there's a lot to live up to there. And like, how do you do that?
For sure. A lot of it, I mean, it's evolved so much, even from when I started. Like we never used to do any like Instagram or like even TikTok, which is a part of our world now. Like videos and cooking videos was never part of my world. I would do like these like big production videos and they would end up on YouTube or the website for like, product marketing or whatever it is. And now Instagram and social media in general has become such a like pivotal, part of the puzzle. That alliteration was Impressive. But it's really become, social media is king now, or queen, as I like to say. And so we've had to like shift with the times and really like, shift with what people are interested in. I think, because of Instagram and TikTok, like I'm sure you guys feel this way or have seen it, like your attention to what you're looking at has just dwindled. Like my attention is like barely anywhere anymore. If I'm not in a video or hooked into an ad within like 1 second, I'm on to the next. And there's like so much more to keep, doom scrolling until my hands are asleep. Which I'm trying to not do as much, but it's so easy to just like consume, consume, consume. So understanding like that hook or what's going to like make people stay. I think to bring up like Chuck and our legacy, it's like we have so much authority in this space already, which is a really lovely position to be in. But like, how do we keep it? And how do we, stay relevant while still kind of respecting the like wonderful, wonderful past and legacy that we're built on? It's a fine balance. And, a lot of it in recent years has been some trial and error to kind of see where we fit in this social space. And a lot of it has worked. People do come to us as the authority, especially in the test kitchen. It's become pretty clear that like, what I say or how I like to do things when it's like put out on social, there is that kind of, I already have that audience, but it's like, how do we capture new audience and continue to grow new customers and new consumers of our content? I don't know. It's changing every day. Sometimes we'll put up a video and we'll be like, this is going to slay. And then it'll be like, a total failure. And I'm like, what? And you just don't really know what's gonna stick. So throw it at the wall, see what sticks. That wasn't a very good answer because the answer is I don't really know. I think it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to figure that out now too, as a new company. And neither one of us are super well versed in social media, but we both have sort of content and creative chops. And so we're, trying to figure it out as well. And it's really hard. And I identify when you were talking before about how you wrote 5 pages and then the cookbook editor said, can you make it 1?
Yeah.
Because for our online articles for ATK would be about 1,000 words, right? And then for print, they would say, can you cut it to 250? I just spent weeks getting it perfect at 1,000 words, right? And so it's not just print space. People are reading shorter things and bulleted things and scanning. And so sort of changing your approach to how you write or what you're doing on social media absolutely makes sense because it's what people want.
Even in recipe videos, it's like, I used to like show every single step and it just adds like an extra like 30 seconds, even if it's that minimal. And now it's like, nope, just like stick to the basics and people just want to like have that instant gratification of like seeing what the end result will be. So sometimes it makes me sad because I'm like, it has tarnished slightly that like beautiful, like slow, like old cooking videos of like Julia Child just like making a really slow roast chicken or whatever. And now
I blame BuzzFeed Food for that. BuzzFeed Food was one of the first.
Those videos so freaking fast.
Those videos were so fast.
No.
And I feel like it really.
And like my brain likes to watch those for sure. Like,
so how do you measure success then of the content? Is it like obviously analytics play a part, but
analytics, views, shares, all that stuff.
Yeah.
What and there's a whole team for this, but what I know about it is what drives people to our site. Or just engagement really is kind of success. But sometimes I'll put out a video that and this is just personal, that I love, and it might not get any hits. And I'm like, do you know what? I still love it.
I love it. Yeah.
If you don't appreciate it, then screw off. But I think it's a fine balance. Not everything,
and that stuff's meaningful to followers too, right? Like,
I think so.
When you can kind of tell people why you love certain stuff, and
and I think it's like, I don't know. I think a lot of success and this might get a little cheesy, but is truly just like staying authentic to yourself. Because I have felt a lot of pressure to do more on TikTok and like do more on Instagram and like start a blog and all this stuff that just hasn't like felt right to me. Or like videos or day in the lives and all this stuff. And I've tried it. It just doesn't feel right. And like, yes, maybe I get a million followers or, all this engagement that would define success from an analytics standpoint. But from me and what I love to do, it doesn't feel right. So I've always been in the heads, like the thought process that if you stay true to what you really love to do and what fulfills you, like, yeah, there's gonna be some bullshit on the perimeter of that, but that will lead you to the place you need to be. And to not like give in to the pressure of what social media is telling you to do or what different people who are successful in your kind of area are doing, because yeah, they're successful in that area for them and maybe they love it and I hope they do. That's not my path necessarily. So I'm constantly fighting that demon of like, the like, should I be doing more or different to get to this like, in undefinable success. But I just truly am like, no, I'm happy kind of doing what I love to do. And that's going to lead me to the success that makes sense to me.
I love that. So you are still very much in your career and thriving and growing and have a lot ahead of you. But do you have, looking back at where you've been from 17 on, or really even before that, do you have any advice to aspiring chefs or culinary professionals?
Yeah, I mean, I think, my parents and I talk about this a lot. Like when they were growing up and they met at the Culinary Institute of America when they were like in their young 20s, like there was only one avenue for chefs, right? It was like weird to be a professional chef in that time. And they only have one avenue. It's like you go to culinary school and you open a restaurant. Now there's like a trillion different paths you can take. So if you are like a young, culinary person, whatever realm that means these days, like try out a bunch of different things, because I think there's no right answer and there's no right path. There's so many different avenues you can take, whether it's like social media, whether it's food writing, whether you want to be in a restaurant kitchen, whether it's catering or food or recipe development or books. Like there's 10 million different things you could do, making food products, and you're like
nutrition,
nutrition. Yeah, I thought about going to school for nutrition for a while. I thought only being a food stylist. So it's a really creative field, but sometimes it can feel overwhelming. There's so many different things you can do, but at the end of the day, if it fulfills you, it will lead you to what you should be doing, and just to stick with what you love to do. And I really think like it will lead you to the right place.
All right. So future projects, Belle, tell us what's going on right now. What are you excited about? What are you seeing in the industry that's like influencing, your next iterations or stuff that you want to do? Where are you at these days?
There's so much. So a book. I mean, I would love to write another book. I have a whole table of contents ready to go. Figuring out the time to write it. And I'm sure by the time I write it, that table of contents will change completely. And we have some really fun collaborations coming out with different chef partners.
Nice.
I'm really excited about. One of my favorite parts of my job is I help create food lines. So with Williams-Sonoma and our chef partners. So we just came out with one with Morimoto, all different Japanese sauces, ponzus, and it's a way I learn about a lot of different foods, and I get to work directly with the chefs to create them. We came out with
awesome.
George. Yeah, it's really, really fun. So we have some new collaborations coming up, which I'm really excited about.
Cool.
And yeah, potentially a book. I've never been busier at Williams-Sonoma, so there's a lot happening.
And what about festival stuff and like
festival stuff? Yes, Boulder Rock is one of my babies. So we produce a stage at Boulder Rock, the culinary stage. So we pair rock stars with chefs or athletes and create all these really fun acts. So I'm a big part of that process. That's Memorial Day. We have a bunch of really fun pairings. Yeah, it's like
that's awesome.
It's the hardest 3 days of my year, no doubt.
I still have never been. I got to get one of these days. I got to
You
get
gotta
there.
come, Matt,
Yeah.
and let me know anytime. It's a blast, and it really like brings together. Chefs want to be rock stars, and rock stars want to be. So it's kind of we found the perfect niche, and we get to bring them together, and it's like an explosion of fun and creativity and passion, and it's a blast. And then I run the VIP like kitchen in the back, so I'm cooking all day, every day for a bunch of people. So it's a real blast.
That's so fun.
Bother
That's
off.
so
That's
fun.
awesome.
The best. It will ruin I say this to everyone though, when you come, it will ruin every other music festival for you. Because it's like they just have it's so dialed.
Yeah.
And you have the food and wine, you're in Napa where food and wine.
Nothing better. Nothing better. Great tunes, great food. Love it. Who is the one person that you've hired that has helped transform your business?
Oh. That I've hired?
Yeah, or been involved with bringing on board.
So my I told you my team is small but mighty, but Lena, who runs the test kitchen with me, she is my right hand and my left hand, as I say. She is like the definition of like the chemistry I was talking about before. She's yin and yang,
I love it.
And yeah, we just really get each other. She teaches me a lot. I teach her a lot. We're there for each other. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. What's been the most successful marketing decision that you've made for your business? And this can be also for your own personal brand. It doesn't have to be
marketing
for the
decision?
test kitchen. I mean, I think you touched on it. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but sort of talking about the authenticity of your social media and staying true to who you are.
I was going to use that as my answer again, if that's okay.
Okay, great. I'm so
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think truly staying authentic to you. I think people respond to authenticity and they can see right through bullshit. And there's such a like social media is just inundated with like especially food content these days. Like you can't scroll without seeing a million recipes. People will respond to you and who you really are. Even if things don't seem like they're going well or whatever it may be, stick to what you love. Stick to, people love the little like personality touches and like your own style. And I actually read a quote recently that was like, you only hate your own art because you're the one who made it. And we're all looking at these other artists and these other people and like admiring it so much because we're able to, right? See it from afar. But to just, really believe in your art, whatever that is, food or otherwise, it will play out.
I love that. All right. The last one is, what's the one tool that you use every day? And it could be anything. And we've gotten answers from like a Moleskine notebook to, Instagram to
an iPhone, a Sharpie.
iPhone, definitely. A tool I use every single day. I mean, definitely my iPhone. I would die without it. But the kitchen, I think my favorite thing is probably a fish spatula. But I have a very specific fish spatula.
Oh.
Okay, let me see.
Am I going to pull it out right out here?
Yes, show us.
Okay. It's this guy.
Oh, interesting. You don't use an offset.
It's skinnier.
Oh, you do have an offset. Okay.
No, it's a little offset. But it's not like a fish spat. I can't find it.
It's like a skinny fish spat.
Like
that's so cool.
Fish spat.
Who makes that one?
My favorite thing ever. I don't even know. It's rubbed off.
Oh.
No idea. Not this. I don't even know where I got it.
Protect at all costs, Belle. Protect at all. Leave it in the house.
I helped my brother cater this party and he stole it. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then I was like, no, I need it back. So when he came up for Christmas, he wrapped it.
Nice.
A present under the tree.
He gave you your fish spatula back for Christmas. Nice.
That's like the greatest present I've ever received. So yeah, a fish fat. That's my.
That one does not go to Bottle Rock.
No, this one stays in my house now, which doesn't do much good here, but it's my baby.
I love it.
Yeah, you realize how important your favorite tools are until you're cooking in somebody else's kitchen.
For sure. Yeah, especially now, like, because I help develop and make so many tools, I've become like a tool fanatic. So I have a lot that I love so much. But I think that's still my baby, or my like big. Oh, look, I have everything right behind me. Or I use these for everything.
Oh yeah.
Too. Not to plate tweezers. I'm not a plate tweezer gal, but I'm a use these for everything else.
Absolutely. Turn it over in the pan, whatever.
Flipping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.